just realized we didn't say who was going. Hello. Welcome to the Get Gaming Plus podcast. I am Alex.
I am Ben.
And we try to have a podcast bi-weekly. Sometimes we forget who hosts the episodes, but that's okay. If you are hearing us for the first time, why don't you go find us on YouTube? There should be a link in the description, but if for some reason you can't see the description, I don't know, maybe there's an issue. Spotify and like some of these things are weird sometimes, like sometimes you just can't click on links properly. So you can just go to youtube.com/getatgaming and you can find us there. And we have video podcasts of all these podcasts, so you can listen to them audio on the week of on the Wednesdays, or you can listen to them or video wise either on the following Friday or the next Friday, depending on if I can actually edit a video on time or not. But how are you doing today, Ben?
Good. And it's so funny. It was because I did last week's where we had Jay and Rob from NES Quest in the soon to be released here N64 Quest, which I gotta say, Alex, did I not do a good job of not fanboying? Because I was totally fanboying on the inside. It was there. It was pretty bad.
We know it was there. You did a good
You-
job.
You
Sure.
knew, but they didn't know. I'm sure they might have.
Yeah. You did a good job. I feel like we did a good enough job on there. If you want to see that, definitely take a look, listen on Spotify. You can find us anywhere. And again, any podcast service, you can find us and listen to us. And yeah, that was last week's episode, the Nintendo Quest and Nintendo 64 Quest, which is coming out very soon. That Kickstarter just ended actually as well. So if you're listening to any of those, too late, sorry. But don't fret. The show and stuff will come out eventually for you. Last time I remember hearing, it's coming out on like certain streaming services in Germany and Canada for now. I think that's what was said in certain places, but
I think that's what they said. Yeah.
But US to be determined and other places to be determined. So
Unless you were awesome like us and did the Kickstarter.
Yeah, definitely. But again, you can't do the Kickstarter anymore. So
no, don't go there.
Yeah. But yeah, we've had some cool things happening. We have some cool things happening later on. We have our holiday episodes that are coming up soon. This year in particular, we are taking off the months of November and December. So instead of just being off half of November and then all of December, we're just going to take both of them off. So you can find us on any sort of social media, but we won't be active in the episodes. So let's say Game Awards, right? And they announce Kingdom Hearts 4. And you're like, why aren't you talking about Kingdom Hearts 4? Well, it's because we're not recording right now. I will talk about it a ton probably on social media, but in the actual episodes, they're already pre-recorded. We're probably just talking about something random, or we have in one of our guest episodes or one of our special episodes. It's not about Kingdom Hearts unless we want it to be about Kingdom Hearts.
I mean, and this year has been a crazy year for us. So Alex and I had discussed it, and we were like, let's take 2 months off. Let's enjoy time off. We love the podcast, but as we're going into our 5th year, which I find incredible, things are just kind of growing for us, and we're doing new things, and we want to make sure to be refreshed. And so, yes, I think we're counting down the days until we get some break time. I'm excited for break time. I know Alex is excited. Maybe I'll finally catch up on all those games that I say I'm going to, but we'll see.
Yeah.
After I finish Persona 5, I don't really know 4. Sorry, Persona 4 Golden, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself because that is. I mean, I'll probably still play Halo, but that's just life. So
It's true. Yeah, you're almost there. Almost there with Persona.
I'm like right there. Yes.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it for anyone or you. But today, in our episode here, this is an episode that's meant more for video watchers. You can still enjoy it through audio, but we're doing a tier list ranking video. So you just need to listen really hard. I'll repeat things and all of that, but for the full experience, I would recommend going to the video, which again will be released at a later date. So yeah, do you just want to get into it then?
Let's get at it.
Get at it.
Look at, you see what I did there? I did that.
Now I have to end the episode because you said that.
Ah.
So,
I'm actually.
oh yeah, I'm looking
gonna,
at my Twitter. Whoops.
We're so professional.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. There's nothing bad on there. It was just them talking about the news that happened where what's his name? Keanu Reeves is gonna be in the Sonic Shadow Generations as DLC.
Yep, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. But today, what we're doing Cartoon Network original shows from 1993 to 2024, a tier list maker. So we have, I'm going to delete one of these actually.
I actually have the list pulled up too because I want to make sure to pull the list up so I could get a good look at them.
Yeah, definitely. So what I have here is S, A, B, C, D, F. I'm gonna combine. I got rid of E because like, why did we need an E? I think that's dumb. Yeah. I'm gonna also delete Don't Remember and combined.
Now, the people that are watching or listening, just know this is me and Alex's thoughts. This is not what everyone should think. I want to say that because there's going to be some shows on here I'm looking at this now. There's probably going to be some people I'm make mad, but you know, what would be a day if I didn't make somebody mad? It's okay.
Man, there's a lot of shows on here that like I know a lot about. Oh man, we're gonna have some fights about one show in particular. Okay, so the first one. Wait, sorry, you want to go?
No. Let's just get into it because I know I got my ideas of which one. So we might as well just go in there and just.
Okay, so the first one, I know it exists. I've never seen it, which is Moxie. That's like the original Cartoon Network, like CG mascot. Like the very, very first thing. And I've never seen any of this. I don't know about you.
I remember it because I remember when we got cable and it came out, but I was watching I just was still watching. I was a big avid Nickelodeon person at this point still.
Okay.
So.
All right. Now I will also say to the listeners, to the viewers, to all those people, these lists, they can change at a whim. So at the end, we'll read everything off because there's a possibility we might put, I don't know, something in A tier, but then we're like, wait, is this better than this? I don't think so. And then we move it down. So, all right. These are also kind of in year like order. So the first one, besides Moxie, I guess, is Space Ghost Coast to Coast. Discussion.
God, I love that show. So I remember when Adult Swim first started, they had that on there. Love that show. I think it was so well done. It was something different that we'd not seen before besides Ren and Stimpy. I don't want to put it at an S, but I would put it at least at an A or a B, maybe. I want to say an A. Zorak is still my boy, so
I agree. I agree that Zorak is my boy. So is Brack. But I
Brack.
also think that this show is great. It's ahead of its time to a degree because it's an interview show, but it's also nonsensical and just weird. However, I feel like a lot of it doesn't hold up in the current day and age. Certain interviews do, but a lot of it's just weird. And like this is coming from a fan of Space Ghost to a degree. So like I feel like it belongs more like in between A and B. So I think it's probably a high B. But what do you think about that?
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Like it was, I think the best part about that show was watching some of the celebrities come on
Like
there.
Weird Al or
Not
someone?
like not really knowing what they were getting into.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, we're gonna do a talk show, but we're gonna kind of do it in front of a green screen. Kind of confusing.
Yeah.
And the guy that did the voice for Space Ghost, he was in so many Adult Swim things and just different voice work. He was fantastic before he passed away. Uh, they did like a whole thing on Cartoon Network when he passed away.
Yeah.
I remember that. But like that show was probably one of the first ones I watched on Adult Swim, which by the way was only on Sunday. And they showed like a pool and they did like a fake announcement of like all kids out of the pool. It's time for Adult Swim only. And like did weird black and white videos of a pool. That's what Adult Swim was at this time. So yeah, definitely a B. I'll take it. I'll take a B.
Wait, he's not dead. Space Ghost isn't dead.
Isn't it George something or other?
Yeah, he's alive. George Lowe.
I thought he passed away.
Um, the guy who played Zorak is dead.
I remember they did a big thing about George Lowe and he passed away.
No, George Lowe is still alive.
Well, sorry, George Lowe. I said you were dead and you're not dead yet. My bad. I thought he was. I thought they did like a thing about him passing away.
Yeah, no. But yeah, Zorak's actor I know passed away, unfortunately. But I don't know when that happened. I just know in like the reboot thing, that like Brack and them are in, and that what's that show called? It's not on our list, but it's Jellystone or whatever. There was an episode of Jellystone where they went to Comic-Con and George Lowe was there as Space Ghost along with like other people like Peter Potamus and those kind of people. But anyway, this list. Okay, so far we have B for high B for Space Ghost. It's the only B right now, so it's the high B. Next show I have is What a Cartoon. I don't really know where to put this because it's kind of just like an anthology of like pilots, just random pilot episodes of shows. Like this is where we got Powerpuff Girls. This is probably where we got Dexter. This is probably where we got just certain random things like Johnny Bravo, I bet. Courage the Cowardly Dog, I think might have been on here. But like on its own, I don't think it really holds any merit. So I feel like it's a C just because it's just fine. It's there. I don't think it's a B.
I don't even remember the show, to be completely honest.
It's kind of like Oh Yeah cartoons. If you remember Oh Yeah cartoons, it's the same thing where it's just like, here are pilots or here are shorts of shows and they might become TV shows. Like Oh Yeah cartoons was the Nickelodeon version. And I guess there might have been a couple Nickelodeon versions, but I believe Oh Yeah cartoons was the one that had Fairly Odd Parents on it. So all like the Fairly Odd Parents shorts were on there, and then that did well enough to where they got their own show.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fine. I don't remember it, so I'll have to go by what you said.
All right. I'm curious how we're gonna go. Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh God, I'm gonna get some hate. I didn't really like that show. I felt like it was a lot of the same premise.
Yeah.
Obviously Dee Dee was always messing with Dexter and breaking a bunch of stuff. And I just I didn't think it was that good of a show. Like, and I know people are like, oh my God, Dexter's Laboratory was the best. I feel like there was other ones that were better than that.
I
Like,
think
if
Dexter's I think Dexter's Laboratory has good episodes, but there's only like 3 good episodes.
Right, right. Like I don't think it's like I for me personally, I think it's a D.
A
I'm gonna get
D.
hate.
I think it's a C. Because I don't think it's atrocious, and it has the movie that's really good in my opinion. I really like Ego Trip. It's a really fun time travel movie.
I mean, I'll let you have it. I don't like I said, I was not a
It's
big
either a
fan.
high D or a low C. So let's
Yeah.
see where it's gonna go. I think it's good enough to be a C. I think the second half of its life is bad for the most part because it got that redesign and it just doesn't look super great anymore and all that. And just like the premise of the show kind of changed. But I think it has good episodes. Like I don't know. There's certain episodes like with there's the one where they go to like Comic-Con or whatever and they're all dropped off as like Star Trek characters and then they accidentally end up in like the Barbie section and then they get like boxed up and they open up boxes and they're like, no, they're NRFB, never removed from box, and all the nerds are just like freaking out. Like it's like a very surreal like Comic-Con collector's experience, and I remember that episode being really good. There are others as well, but like those like few and far between. Like the show is fine, like it's background noise, especially the older seasons, but like I agree that it's not as good as everyone else says it is.
I'll give you that. I mean, I would say like a low C, high D. So we'll keep it there and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Because I know there's ones in this list that we're gonna have. I'll let you have that one.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it to you because there's ones on this list we're not gonna agree on at all. I know it already.
Is one of them the next one? I'm gonna be mad.
No, it's not.
Okay. Johnny Bravo. I think Johnny Bravo is an A tier show.
I mean, you could never have Johnny Bravo today. And here's why. Because the Johnny was always just trying to get a girl and yeah, that stuff wouldn't fly today. It's not culturally correct.
But I think it would fly today because all of the people who he tries to hit on are strong, like empowered women, like who have very good professions and like they don't like try to make people like you know how like cartoons around the time like it's a gender reversal where like he's
right.
He's very much the I don't know how to describe it, like bimbo type character, you know, like he very much like is like very muscular and like very attractive, but the funny thing is like he's so dim-witted that he can't get anybody and he lives with his mom and like his only friend is his neighbor and this little girl across the street. And like I think this still could be made today just because the show doesn't reward Johnny. You're making fun of him the whole time.
I'll give you that. I mean, I don't know if I would put it in the A tier. I think it had some. I think it had some. There were better episodes than Dexter's Laboratory. I'll give you
Donny
that.
Osmond. Weird Al Yankovic was in this show too.
Yeah,
Donny Osmond was in multiple episodes. He was in the movie, the Christmas special,
which I find hilarious because these kids are watching it. They don't know who Donny Osmond is. Yeah. They don't know how he was big in the 70s.
This is how I found out about Donny Osmond.
Yeah, see, there you go. I think I'm gonna let you have this one because there are ones in this list that are gonna be like higher up for me.
I also feel like we need to like start putting some stuff in A tier. You know what I mean?
No, and I think on this, looking at this line now, there are definitely there's some A listers in there, so I think we'll be fine. But yeah, I'll give you that one. I'll let you have it.
Okay. Are we gonna argue about the next two? Because I'm curious how we're gonna play on these because they're the same thing to me essentially.
They are, and I will say so. It's Cow and Chicken and I Am Weasel. Not favorites of mine. I didn't like them. The only thing on Cow and Chicken I liked was the devil guy. That was
it. And he's in both shows. He's the red guy. He's called the red guy. Yeah.
Oh, he's extremely creepy.
He's just a naked devil. You can see his butt all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I was not a big fan of those shows. Like, not not at all. I wouldn't even let when my kids were younger and that was on, I would not let them watch it. And it wasn't because I was trying to be a good parent and there's like a half naked guy running around. It's because I didn't like them. So those are perfect there. Those are perfect.
Yeah. For context for audio listeners, again, you should be watching the video. Or listen to both at the same time. Try to sync them up just right. And we're on we put those both in D. Because I don't think they're atrocious because they have a good character that we both like. But
Right.
the rest of it is not so great, you know. Okay. So I want to make sure that we're not crossing the streams here. We're not. Okay. Because there are multiples of these. There's another version of this later down the road. The Powerpuff Girls. I'm curious what you think, because in my currentness of like revisiting some of these shows in the past few years and all this, like I have an idea of where I want this, but I want to know where you want this.
I'm gonna put it, I would say C. And here's my theory. I think it's on the lines of Dexter's Laboratory where there were some great episodes. Wasn't my favorite. Um, I do like Mojo Jojo
Yeah.
as a character, but it wasn't my favorite of the that era. And I
Yeah.
think at that era is when Cartoon Network was also like really branching out. They were trying to do their own thing. Um, anyone that remembers Cartoon Network when they first started, it was literally Hanna Barbera stuff. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Old Scooby Doo and old cartoons, and so this was really great for them. Just not one that I was into.
It has a lot of good stuff about it, and I really do enjoy it a lot about it as well. But it can get kind of boring in my opinion, especially as an adult. But it's also one of those shows where like I don't gender norms, whatever, you know what I mean? But like when you're a child and you're watching this and you're a boy, you're like, ah, geez, I don't know if we should be watching this. It's a show about girls, but like you just don't care and you're still like
Right.
enjoying it enough. And for me personally, I think it's floating somewhere between a low B and a high C, and that's where I kind of moved it, is a high C. If we need to move stuff later and move it up, we can. But I think, yeah, as you said, like Mojo Jojo is excellent. Like he's one of the best characters in that show. There's a lot of good storytelling. There's a lot of good characters. There's a lot of good episodes. There's a movie even. Um, a lot of good powers and stuff too, and the voice acting is really good. So there's just a lot going for it. And yeah, it could be here. I think it's fine here for now. Again, we can look at it later. The next one we have on the list. Now I'm scared. The next one we have is Ed and Eddie.
So I think the stories that they do on Ed, Ed and Eddie are good. But here's the thing I didn't like. I thought the animation did not look very well.
It's Squiggle Vision. It's like Dr. Katz.
Right. Right. I just didn't like that. But I thought it was pretty good. They're idiots.
Yeah.
And so I think that was a premise. I would say a B.
Do you think it's above
And
Space Ghost?
I don't know, because here's my thing: is it was an okay show. I didn't like the animation. That was my biggest thing. My biggest drawback was the animation, and I think that is always a drawback with anything. If the animation is not good or you don't like it, you're not going to watch it. And I think
Half
that's
the
what
shows like that though. When it got its reboots slash other seasons, it was less Squiggle Vision and more cleaned up animation.
right. I just didn't care for it. I just, and it's funny because you would think with the stupid humor I would get it. I just, no. I think you could put it at a low B.
Okay.
I just no.
I'm just happy that I got a B, to be honest. I'd
I
probably
want to
put,
put it.
I'd probably put it in A, but like this is a Get A Gaming thing, you know. I don't want to like just put my own stuff above.
Hey, you just remember that I'm being very, very open on these, and
Sure.
I'm working with you. So when it gets to some of these on here, you got to work with me.
Yeah, exactly. And again, that's why I'm grateful that it's at B. So I will say Big Picture Show is the finale movie for Ed and Eddie. And if no one's ever watched that before, you have to find it somewhere because it's not on like streaming, unfortunately. But it's very good. It's excellent because the whole premise about like a lot of Ed and Eddie, especially older episodes, are about like Eddie had a really cool older brother, and his older brother left him all this cool stuff. Here's his older brother's room. We stole these things from my older brother. You get to meet his older brother. Like that's the whole premise of the show, of that, where he's like, I'm tired of my life. I'm going to run away and go find my older brother. And so you meet his older brother at the end. And is that good? Is that bad? You'll have to watch the movie and find out. It's really good. The movie's really good. I'm not trying to say is it good or bad. But all right, we got Mike, Lou, and Og on the island. Mike, Lou, and Og.
I do not remember that one.
You don't remember Mike, Lou, and Og? It's not that great. It's okay. It's a very okay show. Mike, Lou, and Og is an early Cartoon Network show. Mike is the girl in the red shirt, and she, I believe, is from like the city or something like that. I don't know how she winds up here, but she's on like an island with like a bunch of like native, like tribal people, I guess. And she's just kind of like living with them, and they're all just like living life on an island. And it's just a situational like comedy, I would say. But I don't think it's great. I don't think it's bad. I think it's better than I Am Weasel and Cow and Chicken. So I'm gonna put it a high D. If you're okay with that.
I'm okay with that one since I don't know it.
All right. Is this our first S?
It's got to be. So
All right.
Courage the Cowardly Dog, and I know people are like, why is it getting an S? First off, well done show. I love that sometimes they actually had like real people in the actual physical cartoon. The animation was great. The storylines were great. Basically, the two people that Courage lives with, Courage is always saving them, always. But his animations and his stuff like that were just, I don't know how many times I would watch that show and laugh. It's just really, really well done. And I thought at one point they were bringing it back. I think they did at one point, or they were talking about it.
There might have been like a CG short or something like that.
I think there was.
But no, yeah, I remember Courage the Cowardly Dog fondly. Like I remember the first pilot episode on What a Cartoon or whatever, and because that's the one with the duck, like the alien duck, and so he comes back in like a regular episode too. But yeah, this show is excellent. It's scary, like even by today's standards. Like it's good kids horror. But it also is just kind of creepy for anyone, to be honest.
Oh yeah,
Like just the animation, like you said, the character designs, all of that, the sound design, the music, everything about it. Sometimes it's creepy, sometimes it's really odd and amusing, like where Eustace gets a fungal infection on his toe, and so he just becomes this huge like purple foot, and like the toes are like gang members, and or like not gang member, like old timey like gangsters or whatever, and they're like, yeah, see, you gotta rob this bank, see, dog, you gotta do this, dog. And it's just random episodes just like that for some reason, and it's great. Or there's actually no, that might have been Muriel's foot. And then let's see, there's Cats, which is just a weird guy. There's Freaky Fred, which is another weird guy. Like there's just so many things about this show that are very memorable. the computer. Like, this is one of the first times seeing like a character on a show, let alone a cartoon, use the internet to a degree.
Oh yeah.
Like whenever Courage would have a problem, he'd go up to his computer and like it had a British accent, and he like be like, "What do I do? What do I do?" And then he would go, and the computer would just be like, "Use Vaseline on it, you nitwit." And then he'd be like, "Okay." And then you go find Vaseline and that fixed the problem or something, you know, like just weird stuff like that. Yeah, it's an excellent show. I don't want to spend too much time on Courage the Cowardly Dog, I guess, but it is an excellent show. I highly recommend it. It is available, I believe, on Max as well as other locations. I will say with Ed, Edd n Eddy and Dexter's Lab, to go back to those recently got new DVD releases. The Dexter's Lab one is actually kind of tempting. Like we put Dexter's Lab in C, but like we talked bad about it to a degree, but it does come with Ego Trip, which is the movie that I really like, and that movie hasn't been released on DVD at all. So I kind of want to buy this set just so I can have Ego Trip and watch it again, and then maybe I'll hate it. But it'd be fun to buy it. All right. What's this guy's name? Mo Willems. You know what I'm talking about?
Okay.
So I'm grabbing this next one here. Sheep in the Big City. Mo Willems, I believe, is the guy who did it. So he does like a lot of like children's books. And he did this mini series called Sheep in the Big City. I forget how long it was, but I'm pretty sure it's a mini series because I think it's pretty short. And
I remember it being short. Yeah.
It's just about a sheep who ends up in the big city because he falls in love with like a poodle or something. And then there's like an angry scientist where they keep calling him mad scientist. He's like, "No, I'm not a mad scientist. I'm an angry scientist." And then there's like a general who's after the sheep as well, I believe, because they need the sheep for like a sheep powered ray gun or something. I forget exactly what it is, but it's just so nonsensical and weird. But it's very comedic, and it's very much like anyone could enjoy. Like it feels like a kid's picture book to a degree because it's just like how welcoming the art style is and everything. With that though, I don't know where I'd actually put this because I remember enough to give it a rating, but I really don't know where I want to put this because like I don't think
I would say a C because it's not D level. Okay. It's like a mid C. I remember it. I remember my kids loved it.
Yeah.
But it was like a short thing. But it's definitely not a D at all.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So yeah, I put it in between Powerpuff Girls and Dexter's Lab. Because I think there is a distinct difference there. Oh god. Okay. The next one is Time Squad, featuring Mark Hamill as the robot. I forget his name.
I did not. We did not watch that one.
Okay.
So you get to pick this one because I don't really remember this one.
This is another one of those C's. Like it kind of, it was interesting. Like it was educational to a degree where like they go back in time to try to make sure like that history does happen correctly, because they go and it's like Benedict Arnold is gonna win and like do something bad somehow, and so they have to go and stop him, or they go and it's like, oh, the Boston Tea Party, they accidentally threw Jello in there, so now it's just Jello C or something. I'm just making stuff up at that point, but like it's just weird stuff as that where it's like, oh no, this isn't how history is supposed to be. So it's kind of like Peabody and Sherman to a degrry, but a little more comical because like it's a whole like there's this is his name Rip Tud? No. I'm gonna look up this guy's name. Tud Russell or something. Because I want to know their names, but because like the kid, like they basically I think they like find him in an orphanage, or like he accidentally sneaks upon like their Time Squad ship, and then they're like, oh well, we don't need to return him because he's an orphan. Like no one's gonna like go looking for him.
Right.
And so yeah, Buck Tudrussell, voiced by Rob Paulson, is an officer for the Time Squad, and then Larry 3000 is Mark Hamill, the robot, and then Otto is Bobby Hill. So yeah, an 8-year-old orphan history buff, and they travel backwards in time to set right the course of history as it unravels. So like it's essentially Peabody and Sherman, but they're trying to fix history instead of just like look at things.
Okay.
And so with that, like I think it's a good C show. If it had more, then I would say that it deserves to be higher. But it's also one of those shows that's like lost. Like I don't know if you can like find it legally in certain places. So like I really don't know, because it's like it's not on streaming, you know, like you can't just find Time Squad. And so like I don't know if like it's on other ways. Like I don't know if you can just buy this from iTunes, for example. And so yeah, I think it deserves to be in the C at least, because it's not cow and chicken tier, you know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
kind of how I'm going off of this right now. Like Mike, Lou, and Og, I don't think is C enough, and so that's why it's high. That's why they're still above cow and chicken. I Am Weasel, but yeah, D tier is essentially just cow and chicken. Am I gonna make people mad?
Are you talking about the next one? Because
Yeah.
okay, I'll give you my input on this. So it's Samurai Jack. I think Samurai Jack #1 is very well done. It has really good animation. The storyline is really good. Um, there's some episodes where there's like zero talking, just so you know. And if you can expand on a story with zero talking for like 25 minutes, 20 minutes, you're doing your job. Do I think it's an S tier? No. Do I think I would say like it's an A or B tier. I definitely don't think it's an S tier.
So
It's great.
I agree with you. I think it's below Johnny Bravo. I think the show is pretty good. I don't really like the last season, and so I'm not really counting that in this because the last season was Adult Swim.
Right.
And so if the last season was in this, I think it would be lower for me, but because it shouldn't be, I'm counting this in A.
Yeah. I mean, so far, everything that you were like worried about has been good. There are ones on this list I will tell everybody that I'm probably gonna fight to make sure they get their like proper. But yeah,
Okay.
'cause I know there's ones in here for you too.
Okay, so there are 3 of them here. I don't
They're
know
all
how
the
I
same
want to do
universe.
this. Huh?
They're all the same. I mean, they're all the same.
They
universe,
are and
right?
they're not. Okay, so let's do Grim and Evil first. So Grim and Evil was the original thing, right? So Grim and Evil was a thing that happened where half of it was the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and the other half was Evil Con Carne. And Billy and Mandy became its own show, and then Evil Con Carne eventually became its own show. Evil Con Carne, actually no, I don't even want to get into that. I think just as a baseline for what this show is, for what this is right here, Grim and Evil, I think it does a pretty good job at being different and being fun. I think that this is a C.
I agree.
Okay.
Totally agree.
Okay. All right. Now, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I'm fighting. I don't know if I'm fighting for this, but I think that this is. I think this is higher than Space Ghost, but I also think that it might be deserving an A tier.
I'm gonna say it does not deserve an A. I think you're okay with putting it above Space Ghost
Okay.
because the animation's better, the storyline's better. I mean, dude, the episode where like the Christmas episode where they go to save Santa and like Mrs. Claus is a vampire.
Mm-hmm.
I think is one of the best episodes I've ever watched. But I can't sit and watch multiple episodes because Billy is Billy and Mandy is Mandy, and then of course Death is always
Grimm's great.
doing yeah. But like Billy and Mandy are like the same character in like every single episode.
Yeah.
And so I feel like yes, you could put it above Space Ghost, but I would not say it's I
Yeah.
wouldn't say it's above that.
Even though those two are the main characters, I feel like you're not watching it for those two. You're watching it for all the other characters around them, including Grimm.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Like I love Irwin. Irwin is such like an annoying nerd because he thinks he's so cool and so popular, and he just like tries to flirt with Mandy all the time. He's like, hey Mandy, how you doing? You're looking good today. Just really weird and awkward and flirty. And his like mom is a mummy somehow. And they won't explain it. And they're like, but how did you and Erwin's mom? And they're like, and we won't explain this. And they just say, and we won't explain how this happens. Or like his grandpa is Dracula. And it's hilarious. He's like, oh, I don't bite. I scrape and lick. And he just like scrapes with his teeth and just licks the blood. That's how he digests blood. There's this weird stuff. Again, I keep saying weird stuff, but like a lot of these shows, Cartoon Network, weird stuff happens. And yeah, I think a lot of the side characters make this show. Like Fred Burger. Fred Burger is hilarious. I don't know if you know who that is. That's the really annoying, like, yes, like that guy. He's green. He's like a weird, he has like a trunk, and he like stands on 2 feet. Now, Ivan Con Carne. This is going in the F tier.
Yeah, it's not very good.
They like the officer guy enough to where he became Billy's neighbor later in Grimm and Billy and Mandy. But everyone else kind of gotten written out. Even Con Carne is dumb. It's about like some like hotshot billionaire who like died in an explosion, and the only 2 things that they could save were his brain and his stomach. And so they're put inside a bear, and so his brain is on top of the bear, and so he has to like try to tell the bear what to do, but the bear has its own brain to a degree, and then the stomach can talk too for some reason. And so I don't get that. But yeah, there's like a scientist lady, and then there's the army guard guy for him as well. And so they just try to take over the world and do all that kind of stuff. It's not really good.
Yeah, I remember catching a couple episodes. It's yeah.
I think some of them are good in small doses, and then that's why I think Grim and Evil works so well, because you get a good episode of Billy and Mandy, and then you get like a pretty bad / mediocre episode of older Ivan Con Carne. Because I think those first couple Ivan Con Carne ones are like okay, I would say. All right. Next one. Whatever happened to Robot Jones?
I have very, very small memories of this one. So this one's
man. Okay.
But it definitely doesn't need to go in S.
Oh wow. Come on now. I love Robot Jones a lot. It's very much a Schoolhouse Rock type aesthetic. As far as like character, animation style, all that kind of stuff. It's about a robot who goes to school, like a young robot who goes to school to try to learn about humans and his interactions with humans from day to day. And he falls in love with a girl who has like a huge like brace like retainer thing because she looks more robot than human. And so that's why he's like, oh, I'm attracted to her. And then he like hangs out with like some nerds and stuff, and just random things happen, like middle school, high school drama. But he's a robot. The original season of it, they used Microsoft Sam to voice Robot Jones. And so it was really interesting to hear just like, hello, mom unit, ba 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 ba. And like, just, you know, they're using a computer to speak as him. Somehow that didn't go well. Like, test audiences or the executives somehow didn't like that. And so they replaced him with like a kid voice that, but like still was like digitized. And I don't really like that. I prefer having the robot because it's more out there. I think Robot Jones is better than Time Squad, but I don't know where else I could really fight for this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, not
Yeah.
necessarily against you, but I just mean like the populace. Like, I don't think it's better than the rest of these because again, I think Dexter's Lab has more redeeming qualities than
Yeah.
Robot Jones has, because Robot Jones is just too short. But yeah, I would put it there in the middle, right in the middle of C for now.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember it enough, so I'm gonna let you have that one. Although I'm worried about the next one.
Why are you worried about the next one? Are you saying that Kids Next Door is an A tier show?
No.
All right, so that's the end of the podcast, everyone. Thank you for stopping by.
Here's my thing. I think there are some really good episodes. I don't think it's an A tier. I definitely think it's like okay. Like watching it with my kids, my kids are like the kids I'm talking about are like older now. And
Mhm.
so like they're when they were watching it, I feel it's like a really good time for Cartoon Network. And Kids Next Door was one of the episodes. They didn't get into it. I watched it with them when they did watch it. I just don't see it as a. I do think it's like a B, but I definitely don't think it's an A. We're not even touching S. It's definitely not an S.
So the thing with Kids Next Door, it like builds upon things. Like it's serialized to a degree where like it's episodic. But then it can also kind of just like at the same time you can have episodes here or there, so like it's
Right.
good for a Cartoon Network. But if you watch everything in order, things do, especially later down the road, kind of build upon each other and do things, especially towards the end of the show. But so it rewards you for watching the show, for one. I really like the characters, I really like the voice acting. As most of these go, I kind of just say the same stuff, but I love the movie. I think the movie's excellent. The movie deals with I think it's called like Operation Zero, I believe. It deals with Zero, who you find out like almost immediately is like this legendary Kids Next Door operator, and he disappeared along with a missing sector. And you find out that number one, who's like the main character of the show, his dad is actually number zero. And so like it's a cool like dad son movie for most of it. And they're fighting against like their grandpa. And then you find out like certain things, like who other characters are, and like it kind of just like it kind of like removes like the veil. Like you're like, oh, these people are these people, this is cool. Like just weird reveals that like you didn't feel like you needed, but then once you had them, you're like, I'm okay with this is really cool and neat. And so this show in the beginning, I would say, can kind of drag, but as it like progresses and as it tries to do more things with teenagers, especially, I think it gets a lot better, especially when you deal with one of the main members of the Kids Next Door. He becomes a teenager and then he becomes a villain because teenagers are villains. And so like they get decommissioned, so they forget everything about being in the Kids Next Door, and then he's a teenager, so he joins the teenagers. And so there's interesting stuff like that. I could agree. I think this show is better than Billy and Mandy. I don't think it's an A. I don't think it's an S. but I think it's probably a high B. It's either above Billy and Mandy or below Billy and Mandy, and I don't really care where we put it.
I mean, I would say next to Billy Mandy.
So like Billy, Mandy, and then Candy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next one, Star Wars: The Clone Wars, the Genndy Tartakovsky, so the person who did Dexter's Lab. I think this is S.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I am so glad you did that because I was like, so like the reason I feel like this is an S, each episode was like 5 to 6 minutes long, but as we were waiting for the movies to come out, so Clone Wars had already come out, um, waiting for the episode 3 to come out. This came out, they were 5 to 6 minute episodes. It showed like what was happening during this time
It
frame.
leads right up to episode 3.
Yeah, and so like what was great about it was like you got to see things like people like Mace Windu fight. You got to see, characters you hadn't seen before do things
Grievous
very
did
well.
more.
Yeah, very well drawn. The fact that the guy that was doing a comedy cartoon was given the opportunity to do this. Now, I will say they just did do a release on DVD or Blu-ray, one of the two. Uh, they just put this on one of the streaming networks as well.
Yeah, this is
If
on
you
Disney Plus, and then there is a DV. There's 2 DVDs for it. I don't know if there's a newer thing for it, but I have the DVDs for this show.
that yeah, the if you have Disney Plus, watch these. And what's great is you could watch them all the way through
Yeah,
on Disney Plus. So
yeah, they just have
you
it as like a movie essentially.
yeah, so there's part 1 and there's part 2. So yeah, I'm glad we were that was one of the ones I saw. I was like, ooh, this is gonna be difficult. Um
Yeah.
there. So I'm glad that's S.
All right. So this next one, I actually watched the first episode of it very recently because it's on YouTube. Someone put all of it on YouTube. Because it's doesn't exist anymore. The next one is Megas XLR. I don't know where this should go, to be honest,
I think it should be a
because
C.
yeah, like that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I think it is really cool for what it does. I think it's trying to be very anime. It's trying to be Ben 10 before Ben 10.
Right. It gave me that SWAT cat vibes a little bit, but not
Mhm.
like as cool as SWAT cats. Like,
Yeah.
like so basically the guy works on cars and he finds this robot, hooks it to his car, and like magically through the people that are fighting aliens and things of that nature that want this technology, he happens to win like these fights.
Yeah.
And it's all by like mistake.
Yep.
It literally is like all by mistake. So like, I feel like it was funny at times. It was okay, but it's definitely not an A or B. I would say it's a low C. I think they only got like one season, I want to say.
Yeah, I want to say they got like 1-ish seasons. I forget how long that season was. It ends on a cliffhanger. And it did so quote unquote poorly that they wrote off as a tax write-off. And so that's why you can't like buy it physically or anything.
Yeah.
I think you could buy it on iTunes for a bit, but
There's a lot you could buy on iTunes, which is pretty
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, exactly. Wonder if people are gonna hate me. The next
Oh, nope.
one is Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Um,
I love that show.
I think this show is a high C or low B.
I think it's a high B because it
High
was
B.
doing something. Here's the only reason why is because it's Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. It was doing something, it was completely different. It wasn't like every other cartoon out there, And it was like, so you want to get rid of your imaginary friends? They're here. You could adopt them, um, you know. And then one kid had to get his there, and he was like, you know what? I'm still gonna be your friend. And so he's still friends, and he's still matching kids up with imaginary friends. I think that's pretty cool. Um, my favorite character in that whole show is Coco,
Of course, I knew it.
who just says Coco
Yep.
the whole time. But it's kind of like Groot, right? Because Groot says, "I am Groot." You
Mhm.
get what she's talking about with that. I like Blue as well.
Yeah,
Blue
Blue's
seems
fine. I like Will. I honestly I like the main cast. Like I like Eduardo. I like Mr. Harrington. Um, uh, but like the movie's okay. Where you find out about Wilt and like his original person. I forget who it is. I forget if they specifically say, but I know it's supposed to be like a famous like basketball player is who his person who imagined him, Imagineer, I guess. Sure, it can be a high B. I'm fine with that. Like I don't think it's awful. I don't think of it higher than like some of these other shows, and um I don't go back and watch this, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
Um but also, I mean, thanks to John Krasinski, you know, we have If now. We don't need to watch Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. We can watch the movie If.
Yeah, and I thought that was a cute movie. It gave me that vibes of that show.
Yeah.
Um, I don't even know if you could stream this show anymore. I don't think it's
Foster's
or is it a Max thing?
I think it disappeared on Max. I think you can get it on Hulu.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of stuff went to Hulu, so
So this next one, I don't remember well enough to actually put this anywhere. I don't know about
yeah,
you.
I don't either.
Okay, so Hi Puffy, I'm Mayumi. Hi Puffy, I'm Mayumi show. They are a Japanese band, and they made a cartoon, but they're the ones who do like the theme song for like Teen Titans.
Yeah.
And so they had like this very quirky anime-esque cartoon, just about a fictionalized them hanging out and going on the road and doing band stuff with like a producer. Um, yeah, I'm gonna put it in the haven't seen / don't remember section because like I don't think I can give it a good enough yay or nay to really like push for it.
Right.
Um,
I agree with you.
it'd probably go in C, but I don't want to say yes. Kind of same thing with the Life and Times of Juniper Lee. Like I remember things being really cool about it, but I wouldn't say um I couldn't say where to put this because I only have bits and pieces of knowledge of this. This is at the same time that this came out, American Dragon Jake Long was also out. And so they're essentially the same show to a degree, where it's just like a mystical, just mystical powers or mystical characters and beings, magical creatures around, and one person has to protect the balance or whatever. Um, and so the difference between this is like Juniper Lee, as far as I know, like she's like I forget exactly what she is, but like she's a designated person for this island where like her grandma used to be this, where she's supposed to be essentially like the avatar, you know, like where like she's supposed to like bring balance to the magical creatures here, take care of them, save the place when she needs to, all of that. Now if we were doing Jake Long, I know much more about Jake Long, and I'd rather do I would know where to put that. But for Juniper Lee, because I just don't have enough knowledge of it, I know basic things about it. I don't think I could put it anywhere.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Camp Lazlo.
I've only seen like a couple episodes, so I don't think I've seen enough to rank it. So if you want to put it in a B, you could put it in a B.
I'm putting in low B. Camp Lazlo is made by the same person who did Rocko's Modern Life.
It has that vibe, so
yeah. And it's hilarious, and I love all the characters. Scout Master Lumpus, or Lumpus or whatever. He is one of the best characters in that show. He's just a crazy I don't know how else to describe him. He's just a crazy scoutmaster, I guess, and you find out why he's crazy in the finale. But yeah, it's just kids at a camp, doing camp things, but then just weird stuff happens because it's the creator of Rocko's Modern Life, you know? We talked about this earlier, Sunday Pants. It's another thing like What a Cartoon, but I don't know enough about it to put anywhere, so it's going to go in the not remembering section. My gym partner's a monkey.
Okay, so I remember the show. So my kids were like really into a lot of these shows. I'm gonna say it's a C.
Yeah.
I mean, it was funny. It had its funny moments, but it definitely wasn't like ultra memorable. Like looking at this list, there's a couple of these I want to go back and rewatch. That's not one of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a couple on these like that I have like really good memories of watching it with my kids, and then some of these I've rewatched with my kids because I've got younger kids. So yeah, I think it's a C.
Okay. Yeah, I put it in a C. I put it above Robot Jones, so it's kind of center C. Next one is the first Ben 10.
So I will go out and say I've seen almost all Ben 10s, including the 2 movies. And the only ones I did not really care for were the ones where it was very much not like an action thing, but it was more of like a comical thing there. I think the first Ben 10 is definitely a B.
Now, where do we want to put this in our B section? Because, like, for me, I would put it above Foster's, but that's me.
I would put it after Foster's, and my reasoning for it is it was really good. Again, in the action genre cartoon level for Cartoon Network, they didn't have a lot of action cartoons.
Yeah.
Or they did and they failed. There's one in this list that literally got like 1 season. And I'm not going to go into it now. I know you know which one I'm talking about. It was supposed to be an action cartoon like Johnny Quest, and it just didn't, it wasn't good.
No, it got some video games though, you know?
The video games were actually pretty good. There's actually 2 on here.
Yeah, you have one on PSP, right?
Yeah, I owned the PSP one.
Yeah.
I will say that there's another cartoon on here that we haven't talked about, and we'll get to it, that was a great show and got clipped too early, but yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of those here.
Yeah, but that Ben 10 I really like. There's only one on this list that I really didn't like.
Okay. Next one we have is Squirrel Boy. I'm in the camp of I hate this show / I haven't watched enough of this show.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I don't remember it at all.
From what I do remember, I remember hating the show with a passion because I thought it was really boring and I didn't like anything about it. I know I've probably watched at least 5 episodes just by having a TV on, but I don't know enough about it to really rank it.
Yeah.
Maybe someday we'll revisit this and we'll watch the haven't seens, and then we'll be like, man, we should have kept it as haven't seen.
I think if I'm gonna pick things on this list to watch, it's not gonna be Squirrel Boy. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Honestly, I kind of hyped myself up for Juniper Lee. Like, I kind of want to watch Juniper Lee now because I'm like, oh, it's American Dragon Jake Long, but for Cartoon Network. Okay. Now Andre 3000, the class of 3000. I think this is a high D.
Yeah, I have okay, so I remember the show and I thought the music was great.
Yeah, the music and the music videos are awesome.
Yeah, that was always great. But anything else was like, it kind of reminded me, and this is taking people back. I remember when Mr. T had a cartoon show. It was awful.
Mm-hmm.
And if anyone's listening that's old enough to be like, are you literally calling Mr. T out? Yeah, that show was awful. It was not good. It was trying to be like G.I. Joe, and it was not G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
But like, this is there. The music, the colors, and the things they would do are great.
Banana Zoo.
I just didn't think it was like that good of a, other than that.
Yeah, if it was just a short show where they didn't have to deal with, oh man, we have the band and Sonny Bridges has to help us out with this band, and it was just music videos, I think it would have gone a lot better. Just having random music videos on Cartoon Fridays that were just like of this. You don't need I don't know, the history of who are these characters. Just have cool music videos.
Right, exactly.
All right, is Chowder going to A?
Chowder's going to A.
Okay, because I don't think Chowder deserves S.
No, but it's great. Um, sometimes I feel like Chowder himself is annoying, but
Yeah.
Mum picks up for that, and then
Yeah.
um,
Schnitzel.
obviously Snitzel. I think it's a great show. Last year during the holidays, Cartoon Network YouTube literally was doing nothing but holiday shows. All of their holiday shows were streaming free on YouTube. This one came up. All these ones came up, and I'm
Yeah.
like, God, that show was so good. And I feel like the jokes were a little adult.
Yeah, they were. I
There's a couple
love
on here a little bit.
Yeah, I love the animation. I forget what the style is, but where there's a background of like say like his shirt, right? Like say Chowder's shirt is just turned up on the background, but he's transparent. So wherever he walks, the design keeps changing.
Oh God,
And
I love
I
that.
love that whenever a show does something like that. It's just one of those things that I immediately gravitate towards because I always just think it's interesting because it's like, oh, their shirt's not the same. And it's not like a weird animation error. It's on purpose.
I always love because yet again, it's something different. It's not the same thing that's out there. Completely different. Um, so I loved that show. That was like the boys, my older kids. That was one of their favorite shows.
Yeah.
There's like 5 on here that were like absolute favorite. Watch it all the
I
time.
just realized we're already over an hour and we're like not even halfway through.
That's all right. That's all right because we're getting some
We
really
are.
good ones
We
here.
are. Well, there's quite a few of these where I might just throw in the haven't watched section enough. Okay, so Transformers. I don't know which one this is, but I have not seen it.
I've seen it. So this one is the one. I think this is where they got. Yeah. So they did get back to their grassroots of Optimus Prime. It's like Optimus Prime before he was like knew who he was. I'd put it as a C. It wasn't great.
Where in the sea?
A low C.
Low sea. Okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. They had like Jetfire and they had a lot of older characters, but yeah,
Okay.
I'd put it there.
All right. Moment of truth. All right. Ben 10 Alien Force. S tier. S tier. Alien Force Ultimate Alien. S tier, in my opinion.
I mean,
I think these are on par with DC AU shows. If this was a DC show, this would have had a crossover with Justice League.
I will give you that. I'll give you this one an S. I don't know if I'm gonna let you do all of them in like a high level.
I'm just saying. So here's the thing. We'll go to Ultimate Alien in a second, but like Ultimate Alien is season 2 of Alien Force, and so I think those two go together. So I think they both deserve to be S. I'm not gonna put any other Ben 10s in S. I'm just saying that for a fact, just right now.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. I think that, but again, Cartoon Network really didn't have a lot of action cartoons, and I think this is where they were really, really like doing well in like the Ben 10s and if you look at the games that were Ben 10, the games were really well done,
and most of them were Alien Force.
Yeah, so I'll give you that one.
Okay, we'll revisit Ultimate Alien in a second, but again, I want to say that's at S as well. Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack.
That's an A.
That's an A?
Dude, you not only do you have the crazy you have Candy Wife, number 1. You got Talking Whale. You got Bill Murray's brother. What else do you want? I mean, it's great. Okay, I'll let you put it in B, but it's got to be a high B.
Nah, you're fine. We can put it in A. We'll put it below Chowder.
Okay.
I love Captain Knuckles. He's great.
Yes.
In like Chowder's Flapjack's okay. Like Flapjack is one of those shows like that people talk about, where that's where a lot of other people spawned from. So we'll talk about stuff like I mean, we're going to talk about it in a little bit, like Adventure Time, for example, right? Or like Regular Show. Those creators were originally people who worked on Flapjack. There's a lot of people who worked
Yeah.
on Flapjack who then tried to pitch their show and they got a show.
Yeah, and I think this is the start before Adventure Time and stuff like that, which we'll talk about. But yeah, I don't think it's an S tier, but it definitely should be an A tier.
Okay. So the thing that we were alluding to earlier, the Secret Saturdays, where you think this actually deserves to be? Because I don't think I've watched enough of this to justify putting it anywhere. So you're kind of
I want to say D, and I'm gonna get some hate. And the reason is because it literally was like a Johnny Quest ish,
yeah.
what a high B or high D.
Oh,
So here's the thing:
D. Yeah.
it's about this family that were they all have special powers, very Johnny Quest feel, but it just didn't. It wasn't. It just wasn't there, and so it left on a cliffhanger. There was only like I think one season, maybe.
I think so.
They had video games because they had there's a Wii game, there's a PSP game. I think that's it. I don't think they got it on any other consoles.
PS2, I think.
Yeah, PS2, but like it just was not. It just didn't do it. You know, it's just too bad.
Okay.
Are we gonna put this in S tier? This next one.
See, I don't know, to be honest, because I think it's too long and too bloated to put in S tier. But at the same time, the stuff that makes it S tier makes it S tier.
I mean, the only thing I have to say is Lemon Grab.
Too bad that guy got canceled, right?
Yeah.
Now you won't ever hear Lemon Grab ever again.
Also, it was such a unique show. So we're talking about Adventure Time, and the thing I love about it is not only was it the craziest show I've ever seen, watching Jake making his ultimate sandwich and singing, but some of the episodes were actually quite terrifying. Lynch King stuff, absolutely terrifying. Mike, I remember my eldest, he's gonna kill me. He's 18 now. He had nightmares from that episode.
Yeah.
Absolutely nightmares. And if you've ever seen The Lynch King, you know why. He was absolutely terrifying. So great show. I have not watched any of the ones on Max yet.
Those are better. I think those are really, really good.
I love Ice King. I'm sorry. He's just the best.
I love the pilot of the show. Do you know what Ice King means? Yeah, I know what Ice King means. Big nerd.
Yeah, that
was on oh yeah, cartoons or something. It was on Nickelodeon originally.
So it was a funny story. Like we were watching this the other day, and my wife was like, "What is this? What are we watching?" I said, "This is Adventure Time," and she's like, "This is dumb." I said, "This is great, so creative." She doesn't like cartoons,
so. Okay, so I put Adventure Time in S. Also for audio listeners, I also snuck up Ultimate Alien in the S as well.
I knew you were gonna do that, but that's fine
because I already explained myself. Alien Force and Ultimate Alien are the same show. It's just one has been as more egotistical because people know that he's an alien and superhero, and the other one he's still like hiding his powers. I'm okay with where Ben 10s are. Do you want to move Adventure Time?
I think Adventure Time should go in between the two Ben 10s or before it, but that's just me. I think Adventure Time just because there was different seasons of Ben 10.
I'll agree with that. Yeah, these two. Yeah, I think Ultimate Alien's worse than Alien Force. So yeah, I'll do that. While we're at it, should we move Star Wars to the top, or should we leave Courage at the top? Because I think Courage at the top seems good.
I think that's fine. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Next one, which is related to Ben 10, that I haven't really seen. Generator Rex. That's another action show that I believe only had like one-ish seasons. And it had a crossover with Ben 10. So like this Ben 10 Ultimate Alien Force Ben popped up, and like it was in their art style and everything.
My son has the PS3 game.
Oh, nice.
I think it was a show that really didn't do very well, but I thought it was well written. It was well done, and they did at least finish it out
Hmm.
the season. So I mean, I want to say it's at least I want to say personally a B. I thought it was a great show. Mid B. I don't think it was anything.
Above Space
It,
Ghost.
no, I mean,
Nope.
I don't think yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Here's the other thing is when you do a crossover with another show like Ben 10, that's where it gets cool because now it's like, oh, they're all in the same universe. So
Yeah.
yeah, short-lived show. Yeah.
All right. Are we going to argue about this next one?
Where do you want to put it?
S.
Yes, put it in S. Regular show. Okay, let me tell you, regular show is made for me as a parent that has to watch Barney and everything else in the world. Barney's not even a thing. I don't even know why I said that. I,
he's
I have
still
to
he's
watch a
coming
show.
back. He's coming back to Netflix, I think, like next week, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's all
You know what?
CG.
Do you know what my kids watch? Blippy. And if you've never heard of
I
Blippy,
know who
look up
that is
Blippy
now.
on. Okay, yeah. He's annoying.
Yeah.
So when I get a break and get to watch regular show is made for my age group, which is even better. I wish I owned the game and a way to play it,
I have it.
but I don't. I know you do.
It's a Master
I don't have
System
a,
game essentially. It's great.
yeah. So yeah, when you said S, that was my only other one I was worried about. I'm like, oh man, he's not gonna put it
So
in
I'm
S.
actually rewatching the show right now. I'm on season 6 out of like 8, maybe 8 or 9. Um Perfect. Like there are definitely some duds, but like overall it's an excellent show.
Do you know who else thinks that show is excellent?
You know who else thinks that show's excellent?
My mom. I had to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to do that. So
Yeah, we just watched the episode where Muscle Man pretends to die, and it's great because he kills off Muscle Man.
how many shows? I know we've gone way over, but how many shows do you know of where the characters are a raccoon, a blue jay, a gumball guy that is actually a gumball machine, a giant white albino ape that skips, and a character named High Five Ghost
He's just a ghost.
with a high five hand on his head.
Yeah, but then he also has regular hands too.
Yeah,
That he just
it's
hides. Yeah.
I love it. It's great.
Man, there's a great line in regular show where they're trying to, I think it's the first Party Pete episode where they're trying to have a party and Muscle Man joins and he's like, "This is a party. To have a party you have to have guests with breasts. Mine don't count."
But really quickly, I want to throw this out here. Do you know what my favorite episode is? Is when they were doing the party and they had to go pick up the clown and they knock on the door and you see these eyes and this horse steps out and like the clown comes out,
He's about to
throws
puke.
up.
Yeah.
It's like,
Puts on shades.
uh, that's such an adult joke. Like legitimately. It's oh my
I
god.
don't know if you know this, but like all the cans have to say soda on them. Otherwise, they're like, "Oh, it's beer cans," like the FCC and all that. So that's why all the cans always say soda. Or like when they go to Wing Kingdom to eat wings, they act inebriated because like or intoxicated because they're eating wings is equal to drinking alcohol in their universe. So that's why like Benson does dumb things if he like ate too many wings. Um the next one is Symbionic Titan. This is a show that was another tax write-off and it is very 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 good. It just never really got to see the light of day.
It made me feel Voltron a little bit. I mean, it really did.
I think it's A tier. I think it's in between Samurai Jack and Chowder.
I'll give you that. It was such a good show. Um, and I think it was another show that just couldn't get that audience,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So
Yeah. We're in the weird zone right now. So I'm gonna actually no, yeah, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna throw some things into the haven't seen section. I'll say them out loud. I'm gonna go out of order right now because I want to just throw these away so we don't have to spend time on them because we're already running long. So Robotomy, I've never seen.
Never seen.
So that's gonna go in there. Um let's see. Mixels, I've never seen. I know what it is. I've never seen it.
We never watched it. I know what it is.
Mighty Magiswords, I haven't seen enough of that. All I know is just the guy who created it is a creep, and he was also like a Newgrounds animator.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have never seen. Well, actually, no. We'll talk about that later. Okay, yeah, I've never seen Craig of the Creek enough to say anything about it. I hear it's really good, and Terry Crews is in it.
Yeah, I have a couple of I've like seen clips, but that's it.
I have not seen enough of Summer Camp Island. What I've seen, I've really enjoyed, and then disappeared from Max.
Yeah, I've not watched full episodes.
Victor and Valentino, I've only saw the pilot and I hated it. So I can't put it anywhere, in my opinion.
That's fine.
I've never seen Mau Mau. I don't know if you've seen Mau Mau. That's another one of those like person from DeviantArt, Newgrounds got something. I've never seen Tig and Seek. You seen that? Okay. I've never seen, I don't even know what this is, but it's this, whatever this thing is that I'm holding here.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah, I can't see what it says. I've never watched Long Live the Royals. I know that was a mini series, but I never watched it. It has like a weird animation art style that I hate, and so I personally like avoided it on purpose. I have not seen enough Apple and Onion. I have not seen this Elliot thing. I have not seen the Fungies. The rest of these I've seen enough to where I can rank them. Are there
Agreed.
anything else that you want to remove from this and put them in the have not seen section? That you think of, or
okay. I just don't have enough of those episodes in me to I've seen like half of an episode.
Okay. I've seen enough to where I think I can actually do it without you. So,
and then the Wee Baby Bears, I've not seen enough of that. I've seen We Bare Bears.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I will put Wee Baby Bears and then have not seen.
Man, we're down to the nitty gritty though. There's some good ones in here.
And yet we're doing two bad ones here in just a second. We got Problem Solvers. We talked about this before the show, but this show's awful. It is really trippy and weird and makes you motion sick. The show was meant for Adult Swim, and then something happened and they had to make it for Cartoon Network because I think Adult Swim didn't want it, if I remember correctly.
I mean, it's a weird, trippy show. It's definitely an F.
Yeah.
It's definitely,
I think it's worse than Even Con Carne. At least Even Con Carne is at least like coherent.
Right. I think it's like you have to at least watch it once. But like once you've watched it, you're like, I can move on with my life.
Okay.
This next one scares me because I do like this one.
The Amazing World of Gumball.
Oh my gosh. It's I think now that I'm watching it again with my kids, it's so funny. It is super funny. Especially their teacher that's a baboon, when she gets upset, she like goes into like a primal rage thing where she acts like, yeah. I definitely would say it's a pretty good B.
I think it's a high B. I think it's higher than Foster's.
I'll give you that. I mean, there's a scene where like one of them gets like really mad and he rages out like Goku and he turns Super Saiyan. So you have me there.
And legitimately turns Super Saiyan at times. Like there's a time where like he says he goes Super Saiyan and then he actually does it.
Yeah, they didn't get sued for that. I don't know how that worked.
Who knows? The next one is also going in the F unless you have other objections. It's Secret Mountain Fort Awesome. It's another Problem Solvers. I hate the character designs for all of these characters in Secret Mountain Fort Awesome. They are disgusting on purpose. They're supposed to be like these gross monsters who like I guess are also superheroes maybe, but like there's one that's just like a weird pimple with pimples all over it, and it's like all pussy and gross. And there's one guy who has like a butt face and like butt hands, and like
Yeah.
they're like, this show is just bad. It
It's
is bad, and you should feel bad.
Yes.
Ben 10 Omniverse. I can't give this a full. I can give this enough of a review, I would say, to put it somewhere. But in my defense, when I was watching this for the first time, like actually watching it fully, it got removed from Max as I was watching it. So
I don't.
I got halfway through it.
These are the ones I don't like. I'm not a big fan of these ones. I guess staying as an action cartoon, stay as an action cartoon. These ones try to get more comical. Not my favorite. Where were you thinking of putting it?
So this Ben 10 is less comic. Yes, it is more comical to a degree, but it is, for this one, it's more of, I'm a different art style. I think this one still has the Ultimate Alien Force at heart, but it does like a whole. It does the thing that I love about things, like, oh, you gotta have a partner, and this is like a buddy cop show for a little bit because he has Rook with him. And so he has this alien with him who's like doesn't really know much about like Earth. So like Ben's kind of teaching about Earth, but then they also like fight things and do things. They're really good transformations in the show. There's a really cool part in the show where the world gets erased, so Ben has to remake it, and everything is just a little bit different for the rest of the series, and I think that's awesome. It's gets more plumber action, and supposedly there's cooler things later down the road that are really awesome and good for like storytelling and like character beats, but I just didn't get that far. I would say this is a low B for me, just because of, I don't know how far it might have gone higher or lower depending on how much more I have watched, but I think it's less than the original Ben 10 for sure.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Uncle Grandpa.
He's everybody's uncle and grandpa.
And he's a D for me.
I mean, it's not
high D
great.
or low C.
Low C, and this is why it did have its moments. I mean, dude, there's Pizza Steve.
That's true. Okay, you know what? Yeah, you sold me, because it has Uncle Grandpa does something important here in a second. So, do you have anything else to say about Uncle Grandpa?
It was just like a weird, wild show. They used to ride on the tiger, which was weird because it just would like fly.
Yeah, giant realistic flying tiger. That's what his name was.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a trip for sure. It was okay. Like, I don't think it's bad, but like I think I'll never watch it again.
So. I will never not watch it again.
All right.
It was a one-time thing.
I'm gonna fight for this S tier.
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
The reason why I want to give you to the S on this one is because I never watched it before, really, but my kids are watching it now, and so me rewatching it, I'm like, man, this is really good.
It's good.
I don't know about the teenager one, but this one at least is pretty good.
So Steven Universe is what we're talking about. Steven Universe is a perfect show in my opinion. The only downside of it not being completely perfect, even though I already said it's perfect, it's just that I need more time to cook. There are certain things that felt a little rushed because of networks and all that. The beginning felt a little too random episode. And that's why like the first season has like 52 episodes or something, and then every other season has like half of that, just because they needed shows that could be just on and on serialization, and that could just beyond in random parts, and like you would understand the show enough. So like a lot of the early show was like, oh, Steven has this power, cool. Steven did this thing, cool. There's a random thing that they're just a bunch of one-off episodes. But at a certain point, especially near the end of that season, then you get Jailbreak, I believe is what it's called. It might be called two different things, but that's where everything changes, and then that's where the show becomes a little more serious, but it still becomes fun. I love the music in this show. The composers for these are excellent. I own all of these albums on iTunes. I bought each season's album. Same thing with Future, but we'll talk about that in a second. And I love the art style. I love the characters. I love the voice acting. I love the music. I love the vocal music, because there are a lot of songs, like actual like singing songs. I like what they try to say, what their message is. It's I don't know how else to describe it. I mean, obviously it's very LGBTQ positive, and that's a good thing to have, especially on major networks such as this, without doing stereotypes, especially. And so I think that is good for the community, good for people as a whole. But I don't know. I just really like this show. This is one of those shows that I could just have on. But the problem is, compared to like King of the Hill or something like we talked about before, I will actually get stuck and I'll just end up watching Steven Universe instead of me just having it on in the background. But the music, again, like that's some of the music that like I have on the background, in the background, like when I'm working or something. It's very good retro-ish music, but then it's also like really good like piano music. And so like it kind of does in between of like, oh, this kind of sounds like a video game. Oh no, now it just sounds like a ballad through piano. And I don't know what else I can say more about this. In my opinion, I think this is above Alien Force. I think this is above Courage, but I want to bite more than I can chew from you.
I mean, I'll give it before Alien Force, but I don't know if it's. Yeah, that's perfect right there. Yeah, because I don't think it would be the Star Wars and Courage. I don't know. So
Guess you just gotta watch more.
I mean, we've been watching straight through but then they go back to their. If I have to watch Cookie Cat one more time, though, I'm gonna be done.
He's a frozen treat with an all new taste and came to this planet from outer space.
They get on these episodes and it's like a repeat thing.
Or you have to watch Cat Fingers again.
Oh my gosh, not again. I've like, there's more in these seasons. So
yeah, there's one episode that's later in like season 3 or something, and it is just a Roadrunner episode, and it's hilarious. It has to deal with like a specific character who like is just upset, and they're just trying to chase this gem or something, and it's literally just a Wile E. Coyote episode, and it's great. All right. See, now I feel like I have to be nice. So next one is Clarence.
I want to say,
yeah,
I say A. And the reason I say A is because it's so. Now, the last season's awful. We'll give it that. But for the most part, their other seasons are really, really good. I still remember the one where they have a sleepover, and the one character says like, "Hey, if you don't get scared, you get my game station or whatever. That's the newest thing that he gets." And like at the very end, he literally does the thing from the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
with a toy chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
And like most people won't get that, but I was like, "Holy crap!" That's like literally that. I was like, "You got me." And just sometimes I watch it and I laugh. It's just so stupid. You know what? I think a B would be better. I'll give it a B. I think being in an A would be. I don't laugh as much as I do as the others, so a pretty good B. I'd
Where do
put
you
it.
want it?
Um, I would put it over by Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Like above it?
Yeah, that's where I would think it would go.
Okay, I'm
I
content with
don't think
that.
it's like it's not A because that last season. The more I think about it, so
Okay, I agree with that. Over the Garden Wall. I,
great.
I don't really like this. I'm gonna be honest. I can appreciate for what it is, but I don't. I've never enjoyed this.
I think that's what it is for me. Is I just enjoy it for what it was. It was very arty,
Yeah.
like very artsy. So I'm okay with a B.
All right. Because it's artsy, let's put it above Ben 10 Omniverse. We Bear Bears.
I don't know. Like,
I think this
it's
is a
okay.
mid B to low A.
Yep. I don't even really want to talk too much about it because I don't think it's. I think it's okay. I don't think it's like, oh my gosh. I don't think it needs to go before Generator X. Rex.
I think right here is probably a good spot for it. I love all these characters. The way I describe them, like there's Panda, there's Ice Bear, and there's Grizz, right? My friends and I, for the longest time, we've described Grizz. We're like, oh, it's just Seth Rogen Bear, because he's just Seth
Pretty much.
Rogen. Like he kind of
Yes.
sounds like him. And he just acts kind of like fun and just stupid. We're like, yeah, it's just Seth Rogen Bear, you know. All right, Powerpuff Girls reboot. I think is a D or an F.
I think it's. I've never watched it, so you put it where you got to put it.
Put it below I Am Weasel. Not enough for an F, but like enough where like, hey, you did something bad. So I have this here, and I was gonna move into a different section, but I don't know how much of you've seen because I haven't seen enough of Reboot Ben 10 to put it anywhere.
I've seen some episodes. I just wasn't impressed with it. I guess because before when it did look very DC-ish, that's what I liked. And now it's like it feels like it's like dummied down, I guess.
It is.
And I don't like it. I
Yeah.
don't like that it's you keep it an action cartoon. Don't try to turn it into something else.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my thought.
Where would you put it then?
See,
Below
I don't think
vertical.
it's definitely not like I Am Weasel in them, but it's just not
Okay.
as good. So
All right. Okay, KO. You said that you haven't watched enough of this. I really like this show. It has really good characters. I love how free they are with the character designs where they're always off model and it just feels fun. I like how it had a really good crossover with Sonic the Hedgehog. That was a really great episode. And it's just fun. Honestly, I don't have enough to say about it, but I've seen like half the show and I know that it's just really fun. That and like when they did the anniversary thing for Cartoon Network, there was that like quick little short where like it took place in well, I don't know if it took place in the OKKO universe, but like where a bunch of like Cartoon Network heroes or like characters are like frozen, and so it was like Ben 10, it was Garnet, the kid from OKKO, which I think his name is just KO, and there's like Jake. No, it wasn't Jake. It was someone else, but like there's just people with them and like he's trying to get like hero cards of people because that's his whole thing. Like they have trading cards of heroes and like their whole universe for OKKO is like everyone just wants to be a hero. And so he wants to be a hero when he grows up, and so he was like starting to learn his powers and stuff like that. But in that little special, he gets a hero card of Garnet, and he really enjoys like having that. I would say though, I think this show is probably above My Gym Partner's a Monkey. Honestly, I think it's probably more. I say it's below Powerpuff Girls. If you trust me.
Yeah, I've not seen enough of it to.
Okay. Infinity Train. You have not seen this? Okay.
I remember seeing ads for it, but I never watched it.
If there were just 2 seasons, S tier. But there are 3 seasons. And so the 3rd season's okay. It's not as great, although people seem to really like the 3rd season for certain reasons, and like, sure. But I just found the 3rd season to be not good compared to the others. I would say it's probably about a low B. It has Ashley Johnson as the main character, at least for season 1.
Okay.
So, but it's an excellent show. I don't know if it's on anything anymore, but all right. Last one we got Steven Universe Future. It's a mini series, so I don't know how to treat it fairly compared to these others. My gut's saying that I want it to be a low S just because it is related to Steven Universe and because it's so short. And it's kind of like with Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, like they are continuations of each other, and there can be things in the middle of them that may, be better or not. Future, I think, is really good. I think it's a really good telling and showing of depression and PTSD and just everything like that. So like Future takes place after the original show and after the movie, and spoiler alert, I guess, like everything's great now, everything is fine, and they have like all this new stuff happening. But now that there's nothing to do and there's nothing to save, Steven's kind of just having these weird panic attacks, and his body has dealt with he's dealt with so many like big traumatic things as a child that now his body is treating every single thing like it's a massive ordeal. And so like if he gets like depressed, if he gets upset, if he just has like, I don't know, any sort of weird mood swing because he's a teenager, he like glows pink, and he like will accidentally like use his powers, or he'll just do stuff. And so he has to like kind of isolate himself from other characters, and that doesn't go so well. But like there's a good moral at the end. I really like the ending. There's a certain scene in this show I really do enjoy where there are 2 side characters. I'm not going to say specifically, but there are 2 side characters who he's interested in, as far as like they're his friends, and he's like, oh, this happened, I didn't know this happened, and why didn't you tell me this happened, or whatever, why didn't I know? And it's just because you don't need to know. Like nothing, the show, it's funny because like the show doesn't revolve around you, like the universe doesn't revolve around you. You don't need to know these people's relationship. It happened off screen, and it didn't matter enough to say anything, but you're upset that no one told you. So I really do like that. The music is excellent. Again, the music is really, really good in this. Yeah, I don't know what else much to say. It's a great, I think it's a great ending to what they could do. The movie isn't on here, but I would say that the movie is better than this for sure. This, like, it's an S tier that would put like right beside Steven Universe, because the movie's excellent. Also, it's a musical, so I'm biased, but I think the same thing with regular show. I think the regular show movie is better than the show. So like,
Yeah.
like if we had those here, put those here, but I would put Future right at the low S.
I'll give you that. I haven't watched enough of it. I've just seen some episodes, and it just seems like more Steven Universe, just different storyline and stuff like that. So I'll give it to you.
Yeah, it definitely gets just more serious. It gets Steven Universe, but there's a little more weight to things.
And I think that's why the kids didn't watch it as much. You know, so look at that. We got it.
We did. It only took almost 2 hours. So I'm going to read these off for the lovely people at home, audio listeners. So we have S tier, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Star Wars, The Clone Wars, the 2D one, the Tartakovsky one, Steven Universe, Ben 10 Alien Force, Adventure Time, Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, Regular Show, Steven Universe Future. A tier, Johnny Bravo, Samurai Jack, Symbionic Titan, Chowder, Flapjack. B tier, Gumball, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Ben 10 Original, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Kids Next Door, Generator X, We Bear Bears, Space Ghost Coast to Coast, Clarence, Ed and Eddie, Camp Lazlo, Over the Garden Wall, Ben 10 Omniverse, Infinity Train. C tier, Powerpuff Girls, OKKO, Sheep in Big City, Dexter's Lab, My Gym Partner's a Monkey, Whatever Happened to Robot Jones, Time Squad, Megas XLR, What a Cartoon, Grim and Evil, Transformers Animated, Uncle Grandpa, Ben 10 Reboot. D tier, Secret Saturdays, Class of 3000, Mike Lou and Og, Cow and Chicken, I Am Weasel, Powerpuff Girls Reboot. F tier, Evil Con Carne, Problem Solvers, Secret Mountain 4 Awesome. And then I'm not going to read the Haven't Seen, Don't Remembers because half of these I can't even see what the names are. So, yeah. We did something. We did something today.
We did it.
Yeah. Trying to see if I can put the whole... There we go. Oh, no. No, I can't. Okay. It's fine. Okay, whatever. Trying to see if I can put the full thing there or not. But yeah, that is our list. What is your list? Listeners, people watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode because this has been a fun one with us, for us. We like talking about things like this stuff. I could talk about Steven Universe for hours. If we could do a Steven Universe podcast, I would love that, but I need someone else because I don't think Ben will want to do that. So if you want to do that, hit me up. Find me on Twitter. And you can find us on Facebook, all of the socials. You can find us on youtube.com/GetAtGaming for the videos, as well as some of our reviews that we've done before. Those are video exclusives. We also have audio podcasts on any sort of podcast service you like. It's probably there. We're trying to focus more on Spotify. So if you could please follow us on Spotify, we would appreciate that because then we get more features and that helps us out a lot. I don't really have much else to say. Do you have anything else to say, Ben?
Just to get at it.
Get at it.